A new Emblem event is starting soon for the Mythical Island set, and knowing how many people are going to be playing the Celebi card, I wanted to have a look at what the best decks were to play against the Celebi deck. And first, let's have a look at this event though. It is very similar to the last one where you had to get 45 wins. Again, 45 wins. You get pack points for participating in battles. Only up to 10 battles though, so after 10 you are kind of done if you only want the pack points. And you get the emblem, the last emblem, which is green this time, for 45 wins. And that's basically kind of what you have to know for this event. It starts on the 20th and it ends on January 10th. So it is actually running for quite a while. So you will have a while to win 45 battles. So my goal here was to create a few decks that would kind of counter or at least be playable against the new Celebi card. So this first deck that I created is a straight up counter to the Celebi card. Since the Celebi EX requires you to have a lot of energies on your card for it to work properly, I looked at which cards were good against that. And as you can see, this Alakazam has 60 damage, base damage, plus 30 for every energy attached to the opponent's Pokemon. Now, since the Celebi decks work with a superior, which doubles the grass energies on a Pokemon, this Alakazam card will actually also double the amount of energies that are on the Celebi card. So it doesn't only do like 30 extra damage per energy that's on the card, but 60 extra damage. So that's huge. The same with this Jinx card, it directly counters it. It has plus 20 damage for every energy, and it also doubles if there's a superior on the enemy's bench. Now, this Farfetch'd is just here, so you can deal some damage in the early game, maybe get out one of the opponent's Pokemon, and the Siglith, I added the Siglith to draw cards, and the same for the Professor's Research in a Pokeball. Now, personally, I didn't have two Sigliths, so I also used a Meowth, since that's basically the same thing, but just way less strong, since it has half the HP. But it does the same thing. It deals 10 damage and gets you a card, draws you a card if you use it. And then the idea is to first get as many cards in your hand as you can, let the opponent kind of scale up. As you can see, it gets quite a few energies on this executor already. But in the meanwhile, because you've drawn so many cards and you only need one energy to draw more cards with a Meowth or Siglith, you can just kind of scale up your own Abra and your Kadabra into a Alakazam that then basically one-shots anything that the opponent has scaled up. So as you can see, this Alakazam does 240 damage just because the enemy has 3 energies on its Pokemon. After this, he does actually kill my Alakazam with his Celebi. However, I already had a Jinx in my bench, and attaching another energy gives me quite a bit of damage, and with a little bit of luck, the Celebi doesn't kill my Jinx, and the Jinx actually kills the Celebi in the end, resulting in a win for me. Now I want to move on to the second deck that I created. This one is just very basic aggressive deck that still uses all of the fire type Pokemon and the Blaine. There isn't much of a change to this deck from after the new cards have been added. However, I did replace the Rapidash with the new one, since it's basically just a stronger version of the old one. However, I am still using the same Ponyta card from the first set, since I don't think the new one is particularly very strong or much stronger. It's a little bit of luck based, while the Rapidash is basically the same base damage plus an extra 60 if you get lucky. This deck in particular is meant to be very aggressive, and you are meant to play very aggressively with it. So attack as soon as you can, as hard as you can. Get out the Ponyta, get out the Magmar, just get the Ninetales on your bench, try to stack the energies for it, and just use it whenever you see an opportunity to knock out any of the opponent's Pokemon. Because the main thing that you want to be doing is getting out all of your points before the opponent actually gets to ramp up and use its Celebi at all. So as you can see, that's kind of what happened in this battle. He saw that I already had a bunch of damage and he conceded. Using the Giovanni and the Blaine card is also very crucial here. Just use them whenever you see an opportunity to knock out one of the opponent's Pokemon. Now, the last deck that I wanted to have a look at is the Grimer Mug Coughing Wheezing deck, which has already been in use for a bit, but it's still strong, and I actually think it got stronger with the addition of a Salandit, which uses a neutral energy, but also gets 40 extra damage if the opponent's active Pokemon is poisoned, which is a really good combination with the Wheezing, obviously, and even the Grimer, which has the single energy poison attack. With this deck, it is kind of crucial to get out the poisonous attack as fast as possible and then try and switch it to either a Salandit or let your Pokemon die and get it to a Salandit, or use Koga and get out the Muk and deal like a bunch of damage. As you can see, I managed to do just that. With a Koga, I switched out my Weezing back into my hand and dealt 120 damage to the opponent's Pokemon, knocking it out in one go. This deck is mainly just used to kind of control your opponent and try and win that way. Now, personally, I think I will be using the first deck the most, since I kind of like having the direct counter and using the Alakazam to deal a shit ton of damage to a opposing Celebi that is meant to do the shit ton of damage.